Hello there, and thanks so much for joining us on this election night update, only on CENTER Maine Plus tonight. I'm Brian Yacono.
And I'm Bailey Cornick. Polls are around the state have just been closing, and we've got a voice of the voter team coverage for you. Sam Olson will have the latest on question 1. Christian Arsa will tackle question 2, and of course Phil Hirschkorn will bring in political analyst for a look at what tonight's results will mean for Mainers.
So, makes sense. We'll kick things off tonight in this update with question 1, which would be that if it is approved, it would bring some changes to voters for our future elections. Our Sam Olson has been following this campaign for us. She's been joining us live all night from those headquarters, and tonight she joins us live in Portland. So what's happening there? Sam, we know the polls just closed.
Brian and Bailey, right now I'm at Orange Bike Brewing Company where the No on One campaign is gathering. Meanwhile, the Yes on No campaign is not holding any big events tonight. Now, we've mentioned question 1 a couple times now. It's the referendum question that could change voter ID laws if it's passed. Now, Maine is one of 14 states that do not require voter ID at the polls, but there is much more to question 1 than just voter ID. Question 1 would require specific ID every time you vote and make multiple changes to how absentee voting works. There are provisions that will change how absentee ballots are requested, mailed, and delivered, and eliminate 2 days of absentee voting. Those who support it say it will help Maine elections be more secure. Meanwhile, those who oppose it, like the people who are here right now, say it will just create obstacles for voters who want to make their voices heard. Now, again, we are at Orange Bike Brewing Company, and we will be here all night until the vote comes in, and we will bring you the latest. Brian, Bailey?
Sam Olson, thank you. All right, now to question 2, which if passed would bring a red flag law to Maine. Christian Arsa has been following this race for us, and he joins us live from Portland. Christian, how's it going?
Hi, Brian and Bailey. I'm at RERA in Portland, where the Yes crowd has gathered here. Now, I did talk to the Vote No coalition for question 2, and they said they're not holding any public events this evening. Now, earlier today, I was at the Reiki School in Portland, where I talked to poll workers, and one poll worker told me that attendance has been so high today that a city clerk had to come out and deliver new ballots just to make sure that they didn't run out, and that location was not the only one. Turnout has been a big focus for this election, and because it is not a non-presidential year, poll workers say turnout has been higher than expected, and they think that is because of question 1 and 2. Executive Director of the Sportsman Alliance of Maine, David Trahan, says he is keeping an eye on attendance. Trahan, who is a staunch opponent to question 2, feels that how many people turn out and where they are turning out is going to matter. Voters I spoke with in Portland are showing a trend to passing question 2.
Lower the risk of someone who can hurt themselves or other people getting their hands on a gun is a good thing.
I think that those people need, while they're getting that help, to be restricted from things that they could do to hurt themselves or to hurt others.
Oh, I think this is an urban versus rural issue. I think Portland South, question 2 has the most support. I think urban areas where people own firearms and understand them, I suspect it'll do pretty poorly in those areas.
Now, we are in here where we're in Maine, where the polls have just closed, and so there are no official numbers yet, but here in the room with a lot of Yes supporters, they have a lot of positive vibes. Now I'm going to toss it back to you, Brian and Bailey.
Christian Arsa, thank you so much. All right, now it's time to check in with our political analyst.
Yeah, Phil Hirschkorn, the host of Political Brew, is joined this evening by a few extra voices to see how the evening's going. Jason Levesque, Ken Altschuler. What are you guys hearing? Again, we're just minutes past the polls closing.
Well, let's start with question 1, Brian and Bailey, and start with you, Jason, because you're a Republican and you voted for it. Why?
I did. I thought it was the right thing to do. I think it's common sense. It's pragmatic. We should be checking IDs in order to confirm that the person who's voting is truly that person. It's about having a little bit of guardrails. So that's why I voted for it.
So photo ID is somewhat popular, somewhat accepted. 36 states have ID, and 23 of them are photo ID. Airport, drugstore, so many places. But you didn't mention the other half, the absentee ballot part and the restrictions that would come along with it.
Well, if this referendum goes down, if it loses tonight, it's going to be because of the other parts. I do think that the backers and the writers of this, the initial proponents, overplayed their hand a little bit. I think they muddied the water, and actually, with good intent, poor execution. That was exasperated by the Secretary of State's office when they actually wrote this referendum question. So I think you got a lot of confusion. That's what I'm hearing right now from people on the street. And time will tell. It's too early to call. Whatever it's going to be extremely close.
Ken, you were a Democrat. You were opposed to question 1, and the coalition opposed was called Save Absentee Voting.
So Jason's right. I hate to admit that, but the problem with this referendum is that it included absentee ballots. If you have a moderate like me who says, voter ID, what's the big deal? We get voter ID to get a fishing license. Why not have it for voter ID? Not a big deal. But you dilute it by having absentee balloting on there. And I like the absentee ballot process. So now I have to say, well, do I want to throw away the baby with the bathwater? The answer is no. So they should not have combined it. It would have won going away if it was just voter ID.
And 45% of Mainers like absentee voting. They vote that
Absolutely.
way. At least they did in 2024.
Shanna
Bello said, yes, she said 145,000 in today's lower turnout.
And they're going to vote against it because of that.
Mm-hmm. Let's turn to question 2 briefly. You were for a new red flag law. Why?
I was, and I understand the yellow flag law has worked more effectively now that they're using it right. But I've said there's a process, protection from abuse processes, where we go into court when we think that somebody's being abusive and we want to protect our children. You get an ex parte order without a hearing, and you go to court 2 weeks later, and the judge can decide whether your petition was correct. What is the danger of taking away a gun to protect people when you can have the redress in a matter of weeks? I know we love our guns, but I love our human life better.
So red flag would let families and households take that step, go to court, but a lot of police organizations in Maine don't like it. We have about 30 seconds. Tell us why you sided with them, no on 2.
They're the subject matter experts, truly are. There's some logistic issues, I believe, with potentially flooding the court system, not really using the effective tools that the law enforcement have now with the yellow flag, and it's truly working. I mean, it's been used 1,100 times. So I think we need to stay the course on yellow flag. I don't think we need to interject a red flag law into the equation. I think what we're doing works, and we have to stay the course. We can't be a solution looking for a problem that may or may not be there.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. We'll have more in the next hour. Brian and Bailey, hopefully we'll have some actual voting returns for further analysis next time you talk to us.
That's right. A little time needs to pass, but we look forward to that. Phil, Ken, and Jason, thanks for your time tonight.
All right, moving to this. Some local politicians tried to appeal to voters today through community service. In Biddeford, 2 candidates running against each other for city council joined others to support a local food pantry overwhelmed by furloughed government workers and families dealing with uncertainty around SNAP benefits. The director of the Biddeford Food Pantry says they typically feed about 160 families on Tuesdays, but today they had 217. But they are having trouble keeping up with the need, so they asked voters to bring a donation to the polls. Today, City Council candidate Sam Picor and Brad Coate came together at Biddeford High School to collect those donations for the pantry.
I think a lot of us really just feel we have a duty to kind of show some unity in our community and really just come together for a common cause to help everybody out.
Some voters even made cash donations to the food pantry today.
Before we go in this update, we do want to get you an update on some breaking news we've been tracking now out of Kentucky tonight. We told you about this earlier this evening. That state's governor says now at least 3 people have died after a UPS jet bound for Hawaii crashed. It's up around 5:15 this afternoon, right near the airport in Louisville. That led to what you see on your screen now, that huge fireball on the ground. UPS says there were 3 crew members on the jumbo jet. Investigators aren't yet saying whether those are the people that have been confirmed dead now or if those were casualties on the ground outside the airport. People, however, within a 5-mile radius of the crash are under a shelter-in-place order tonight because of the fire and the debris. Again, the images you're seeing here just within a short time ago. We'll keep you updated, of course, on this breaking story. Again, that's just outside the Louisville airport in Kentucky. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening, but thank you right now for joining us for this update on election night.
We will see you in just under an hour for Private 9. See you then.